Hi, everyone, and welcome back to AI on the Side. I'm your host, Shalira Wisney. On this podcast, I explore how AI is showing up in business, culture, and the future of work. Thanks for being here. I hope you enjoy. The whole conversation around critical thinking and AI has really made me think back to the way I grew up and appreciate what my mom did for my sisters and I. And it makes me laugh because there is some trauma. The woman has caused some trauma, but she also instilled in me a need to always ask questions and always get answers. So, I love AI. I'm all for it. I have a need to know a lot of random facts. So I love that I can, turn to generative AI and get the answers to all of that. I I guess that I my mom has always given me books, and she's always said, that she had a poster on the wall that said, "The more you know, the further you'll go." And I was homeschooled for a while on and off, and although my mom was not the one to do the schooling for me, I did an ABECA program. There was like this school in Florida, I think it was, and they had videotapes of teachers that were, teaching lessons, and they would send the videotapes to our house. I would pop a VHS into the VCR and watch a lesson on like history, science, whatever it was. That was over, pop in the next video, etc., and keep going until I finished all of the classes for the day. It was very unique and very interesting. And I think also kind of plays into probably why I work so well from home because I've been kind of doing it my whole life. But back to, the main conversation. I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio. I grew up in the hood. My mom, the reason why I was homeschooled on and off for so long. And I think that the the critical thinking piece, I see like reading books and like how important that is. And my mom has given me books almost to a fault my entire life, to the point where I would be looking for answers in a book before I would get the answers from a real person, which is pretty sad, but also probably why I work well again with AI, because, instantly put the question in, instantly get the answer back out. Because of the way I did grow up, I think it shaped a lot of how I see things now. And I think that's another reason it's so important to have different, I don't want to say viewpoints, but that's why it's so important to have different perspectives and different people and different everything in these AI companies, because these models are being built to represent all of us, but there are only a few that are building it, if that makes sense. So obviously, there are probably thousands and however many people and agents together building the code and like building the things that these companies are creating and giving to us. But in terms of the top AI leaders, for example, they're all men. They are, most of them are white men. And I think that we need to see a reflection of what society and culture and like all of these different things are. So we need to see more women in there. We need to see more diversity in there. We need to see people who, grew up in the middle of nowhere, who had to, walk to libraries in order to use the internet and or in order to get answers to questions that they may have had. We need people who grew up without access to anything. They didn't get it until they were older. We need people who grew up on welfare. We need so many different things and so much representation in order for these models to reflect us accurately. And I just think that it's not happening. So I know that this topic, I'm learning, might still be kind of niche because there's actually a very small percentage of people that are actually using AI, and then not just using it for like, help me think of a salad recipe, but like actually building things with it and just like pushing and seeing what is actually possible. I don't know. I feel like I'm doing a lot of rambling, but all of this is really important. And this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, which is just trying to share AI knowledge and like what is possible, what's happening now, and giving it to those communities that are not necessarily represented in the current AI atmosphere. So, if any of this rambling resonates with you, follow along. And I have a podcast on Spotify. AI on the Side is the name of it. I'm writing a children's book. It will be coming out soon. And I don't know, join the conversation. It's an interesting one.